All right, everyone. What's going on tonight? We are back for episode 42 of Stub Luv Live. And tonight we got a really good guest on. We have Bill Shelton on. I see Bill's in the house. I haven't seen Bill request to join, but I could probably facilitate that. I see we got some people on Montreal Expos tickets. There we go. Brandon Johnson in the house. What's up? There he is. Bill Shelton. What's going on?
Howard, how are you?
I'm doing really well, man. We got a whole bunch of people on tonight to see you. What do you got? You got a jersey on? Is that a St. Louis Blues jersey?
It's the season, the Blue Note.
I like it. I like it very much. I actually had to put on a hoodie tonight because it's a cold 62 degrees here in South Florida, so we don't know what to do with ourselves.
I will up you one. It's supposed to be 18 degrees in the morning with a 5-degree wind chill. Wow. I'll be wearing more than a hoodie, trust me.
Wow. Wow. Well, I'm so happy to have you on, Bill. For people who don't know Bill, I kind of started following Bill's comments on Boogers because he's a pretty big contributor on Boogers. Always has a lot of real positive comments to make about tickets. I think Bill always tells some good stories and has good comments when people post. So it was kind of a natural thing. I reached out to Bill. I don't really know him that well, but kind of feel like I know him better than I do because of all the comments and things on Boogers. And I was so happy, Bill, when you said yes, that you would come on the show.
Well, I'm thrilled. It's the great thing about this hobby is there's so many incredible people, and it's a chance to share, and you meet great people, you have fun. I told you when we first talked, I don't collect tickets, I collect memories. And I always talk about, locked inside every little fiber of these stubs are a million stories, and it's up to all of us to just kind of release them.
Yeah, I wrote it down here. I collect memories, and it really stuck with me. If we ever kind of put a ticket business together, maybe we'll just call it I Collect Memories.
There you go.
Because it's pretty darn good. But you said that for you, in order for you to collect a ticket, it has to have some personal connection to you. And I think that's great. Tell us kind of a little bit about your collection and what makes it personal to you.
I'm probably the most eclectic collector that you'll run into. And it is, and it's what I told you. Every ticket that I have has a personal connection to me in some way. When I started out, I said, okay, I either had to be at the event, see it on TV, see a replay that really hit me, listen on radio, or have some type of personal or emotional connection to it. And a little bit of that has grown, but that also keeps me away from, chasing the flavor of the day, but it also makes it very real.
Yeah.
And, on those days when you want to do something, you go back and look at it, it gets a memory out, or you'll get it and say, oh gosh, I want to go back on YouTube and relive that moment. So that's really what it's about for me. And, you talk about Boogers, a lot of people will have these posts of, what should I do? Should I do this? Should I grade this? What should I do with it? And should I get it signed? What color of ink? And my response is always, do what you love. Do it for yourself. If you're doing it for somebody else, you're not a collector. And that to me is the difference. And that's sort of how I live. I've spent my entire career in marketing and advertising, and I'm a writer-producer. So, everything just comes along as far as stories go. That's sort of what goes with the ticket itself. So you can look at it and bring that little personal moment back.
Yeah. Well put, Bill. Well put. Just a comment so no one thinks that you are a mass murderer or some crazy person. We do see over your right shoulder a woman eating her own leg or someone else's leg. Seems like she's not all that well clothed. you and I talked a little bit about it, but maybe we should let the audience in on it so they don't call 911.
Yeah, I should let everybody in on the joke. My wife and I have really eclectic, funny tastes. Even our wedding was a Day of the Dead wedding at the Ritz Cigar Club of all places, no churches. But behind me is actually a magnificent piece of artwork. It is a Snap Wyatt original. Snap Wyatt was the foremost painter of Sideshow banners in the world back in the 30s and 40s. And when you would go to, quote, the Old Time Freak Show, one of the great acts of all time was Zoma the Cannibal. And it was a 3-part banner. This is the hero part. If I can move aside a little bit, you can see a little bit more. Yes, Zona is a native cannibal, so she's naked. But the flip side is what you can't see is she's eating a nurse. So that is the nurse's arm that she's chewing on. So, and that's behind our bar. So, here's the deal. We like to say we dance to the beat of our own accordion player. So that's
do you have her debut
original
at the Sideshow, Bill, or is that not something that you collect? Her debut ticket to the first time she ever showed up at one of these events?
I would kill to have that and frame it and put it on the wall here in the bar. So that would be kind of the perfect thing. But yeah, that's, and we talk about tickets. My wife Terry and I, that's sort of the thing with us. Everything that's in our home, there's a story behind it. So, we're not going to go just buy art off the wall. What you can't see on the other wall here is a sign from the Tube in London. It's an authentic Tube sign from the 40s when they changed them out, where that was the stop where we got off the Tube to go to the hotel on our honeymoon. So just, it's kind of who we are.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, okay, I saw Positively Dave Yohani coming in, and that's nice to see. I see Hall of Stubs joined, and man, that guy's got some great info and some great data on Instagram. He's just terrific. So, Bill, I guess the focus of your collection really is St. Louis Cardinals, Lou Brock steals, and then you've got kind of some other Cardinals tickets that you enjoy collecting. Johnny Unitas touchdown streak tickets. So talk a little bit about it. You got into ticket collecting. That's a really good story, and I think people would love to hear it.
Sure.
So start there, and then tell us a little bit about the focus of your collection.
Well, part of the whole ticket story really begins with I was a Cardinal ticket season ticket holder for 16 years. I like to say I haven't missed a World Series game this century. So, but the deal is I had all these tickets and all these stubs, and they were filling a drawer. And I didn't really do anything with them. I'd use a ticket, I'd throw it in the drawer. If I didn't go to a game, I had this huge space of unused tickets. And my wife's like, you're taking up too much drawer space. So I sold them all. And then a few years later, my wife and I have been together, holy cow, now for 28 years. And we didn't get married for the first 14. So when we finally decided to get married, we had a really small wedding. And my 2 groomsmen are like brothers of different mothers, and I wanted to get them something unique as groomsmen gifts. So my buddy Steve, I got a 1985 National League Championship Series ticket. Game 5, Ozzie Smith hits the legendary Go Crazy home run. And then for my buddy Mark, who was at the 1968 World Series Game 1 when Gibson strikes out 17, I got him that ticket and got both of them signed. That was back in the day. That was 2010. Expressed them to PSA. All you PSA doubters, they turned them and got them back to me in less than 48 hours, so they could be there for the wedding. And then I gave them the tickets, and I was like, "Oh shit! I wish I had those." So that was kind of the genesis, because after that I went and sought out another Ozzie ticket and another Gibson ticket, and that's really what started the whole thing. And then, as everybody knows, it just cascades and grows, and here we are today.
Yeah, great story. Great story. It's funny to hear that PSA turnaround tickets. Tom Daly looking to try to become a groomsman at your next wedding. So if you and your wife renew your vows, Tom Daly wants in.
Okay.
If those are the groomsmen gifts, we all want in. We all want in, Bill.
But you talked about Cardinal stuff. I have had the good fortune to live so many incredible baseball moments in St. Louis and other ballparks. but the Cardinals are my heart. I mean, I was one of those kids. I grew up in Southern Indiana in the 70s with a little transistor radio with one earphone, and I'd hide it in my bed and turn over on the side so my mom couldn't see it. And we had all these moments. You know, and you talked about Lou Brock, the 1974 season with all the stolen bases. You know, I'm still missing that bucket list ticket from stolen bases 104 and 105. But, you know, even incredible stuff up through the 80s and, of course, the era from when I had tickets. I collect things that, you know, are incredible. I remember Darryl Strawberry late in the season one year, Cards and Mets are fighting it out. Strawberry beats the Cardinals on an insane home run that hits the scoreboard in dead center field. Okay, I hated Darryl Strawberry then. I've met him now. He's an amazing guy. Got to have that ticket. Got it. So, you know, Cardinal stuff, I can tell every Cardinal ticket, I can tell you an amazing story about them. But the Unitas thing is kind of cool. I got started on that. As you can tell, I have a very round face. I like to say it's a bowling ball. You took two fingers, the thumb, and roll me down the alley. But I wore my hair as a flat top for 15 years as a tribute to John Unitas and Roger Maris. And as I got into the ticket thing, I was like, wouldn't it be cool to get, you know, every game of the 47 game touchdown streak and have tickets from that? And that's been something that I've chased. I'm down to one ticket. So anybody out there, if you have the Colts at Redskins from 1957, please seek me out. But in doing it, there's some really cool history, and I brought a couple of things along to always share.
Yeah,
For the
show and tell. Show and tell. Got to show and tell.
So, interestingly, the Los Angeles Rams played a huge part in Unitas' streak. Game 1, Sunday, December 9th, 1956. There it is. You can see but they were at the Rams. Okay, Unitas, and this puts the streak in perspective at that time of 47 games. The existing streak at that point was 24 games. Unitas breaks it against the Rams and breaks Cecil Isbell's record and hits number 24. So the record had been 23. This one I just do for fun. One of the greatest games of the 1950s. The Browns and the Colts. Unitas throws 4 TDs. Jim Brown rushes for 5, and the Colts take the fall. Then you come along, the end of the streak. Hang on a second. I've got stuff all out of order and messed up. The final game of the streak came against the Lions. That's game number 47. And then the fun one is the game that broke the streak once again at the Rams.
Wow.
So you've got trying to get past and some variations on that ticket. The yellow, we all know we do all these crazy variations. And the one that I had never seen was a general admission from that game. But really, it's 47. If you think about it, it's 49. If you go to the NFL Championship in 1958, greatest game ever played, first sudden death game in football history, and then the replay against the Giants again in 59, which is a great ticket. So just, I mean, that's kind of the Unitas thing, and there's so much fun and so much history when you look into it. But that's, you know, I just got started into it and got into it. But when you look at it, it's like, well, gee, thank you, Los Angeles Rams, right?
How long, Bill, has it taken you to put that run together? How many years?
I put a full court press on it. I've done this in 2 years,
Wow.
Which is, considering the age of those tickets, is insane.
It really is. Yeah, I'm shocked.
And some of it I lucked into. I mean, I should have it here with me. Probably the hardest ticket in that entire run, the Washington will show up, was the 1960 game against the Dallas Cowboys. And it was the biggest defeat in Cowboys history until the Bears destroyed them in '85. But those Dallas season ticket holders from that inaugural season held on to those tickets. And I just got that one a couple of months ago, just on a fluke on eBay. And wow. I'm still bleeding through the nose what I had to pay for it, but for a common ticket. But it's been a blast. And now once I get everything there, and I'm already starting to upgrade, so it's just a great thing. But other stuff you talk about, I'm from Indiana.
Just wait, before you go on, Bill, say it again. What's the one that you need? Give us the one you need again, just so that we can put it out there.
The one that I need is Colts at Redskins in 1957. That's the lone ticket. So I will reward someone richly with that. I promise you, the first one I'll give you is the one from when he set the record at 47. I've got a few of those lying around. But,
All right,
I
well,
lucked into
the man. You heard the man. We got to help him. We got to help find it. Colts at Redskins. There you go. Got to find it.
So no, you asked about other things. I in some senses collect boxing tickets. Some of them, my grandfather was a boxer, semi-pro. He won his first 26 fights before getting knocked out and couldn't get back in the ring. Worked with Max Baer when Baer was heavyweight champ, and one of his guys lost to Muhammad Ali in the gold gloves for Ali's first gold gloves. So just great stuff. I'm from Indiana. Lots of IU basketball stuff from 75, from 75, 76, the three championships, 81 and then 87. And I'm completing the runs on those for all the games in the tournament. But Larry Bird is the it thing for me.
Oh, yeah.
I've just kind of started doing Larry stuff, but it's if you want, I'll share a couple
Sure.
here because they're
Please,
amazing.
please go ahead.
Amazing.
Yeah.
This for me is the maybe not the ultimate Larry ticket, and I had hoped to have another one here tonight that should have arrived today, but Larry's 60-point game, autographed by Larry. Really small crowd. I think it was just over 10,000 in a game played in New Orleans. The Hawks were trying to get some home crowds in New Orleans. Just an amazing ticket. And if you go on YouTube, if nobody's ever seen this, Larry was unconscious that night. And he hit so many hot shots that the Hawks players on the bench are giving each other high fives and cheering, and Mike Fratello fined half the bench that night. You hear the stories from it. And Larry was calling his shots down late in the game. He's coming down the floor, and there's a great one. He puts up a three-pointer, and he falls backwards, and everybody talks about it. He's like, three-pointer, fall back into the coach, and falls in the lap of their trainer. So, it's just like, oh my, how do you not want that ticket, right? But this is the one, if I had to pick a Larry Bird ticket over this one, and nobody else here would do this, you had James Nolan on a couple weeks ago. Great guy, unbelievable collector, super human being. So I grew up in Evansville, Indiana. And for my 16th birthday, I went to my parents and I said, I want two things. I want tickets. The University of Evansville on my birthday is playing #1 ranked Indiana State with Larry Bird. And my aunt's brother, my namesake, my Uncle Bill, his wife's brother had a 1970 Dodge Charger for sale. So it's my 16th birthday. I want the car and I want to go see Larry. So my dad somehow came up with third-row tickets in the corner. Wow. Great seats. And so we got third-row seats. We went as a family together. I was an only child. It was a really great night. And I got a Matchbox car of a 1970 Dodge Charger. Not quite. But the ticket was long gone. And really super quick. The season had a lot more meaning for us there in Evansville that year. The year before, the city was a basketball city. The University of Evansville had won 5 Division II championships and won back-to-back ones with an undefeated team in '65 that most people say would have beaten UCLA, had Jerry Sloan on it.
Wow.
As one sports writer said to me, Gail Goodrich wouldn't have scored a damn point with Jerry Sloan on it. But the entire team in 1977 perished in a plane crash on takeoff to go to an away game, except for one player, and he died the following week in a car crash. I grew up 5 blocks from campus. I knew every guy on that plane, right down to the trainer, the sports announcers, everybody. So the entire community was in mourning. So the next year they bring in, guys who are transfers, and we had a pretty good team. And we're playing #1 Indiana State. So over the years the ticket went away. So I'm thinking there's no way I can ever find a ticket. I post on Boogers, and I did. I think it was like Snowball's Hell and Chance request. Does anybody have a ticket from December 2nd, 1978? And James Nolan sends me a message and says, my brother was the trainer for the baseball team. Our whole family was there. Let me see if somebody will give up a ticket for you. And I told the story. Here's why I want to go. And here it is. Somebody in the family gave up that ticket. It was fantastic. Unbelievable. Just crazy stuff. And I can't thank James enough.
Such a testament to James and such a
Yeah,
testament to Boogers and a testament to the ticket collecting community, because I don't know in any other genre of
no,
collecting anyone would have dared tried to go out and help someone like he did for you. Wow, that's
man.
wild.
It, but here's the thing. I mean, I do that. I mean, I'm not going to go into the whole thing about how we went in business and everything else, but I do. I'm the luckiest guy on the face of the earth. I couldn't have dreamed my life when I was growing up in Indiana. So part of what I try to do is to give back to people, because I'll have some, I'll talk about a ticket or something, and somebody's like, man, I'm doing this streak and that's one that I need, and it's like, you know what, it means more to you than it does me. And try to pay that forward. But that's kind of the cool thing about that group, is there's so many like-minded people like that. I don't have it here. God, I wish I did. There was a great Sunday night game. I used to love Sunday night ESPN games at Busch Stadium, and the Cubs are, Cubs Cardinals is a great rivalry, and it's really friendly. And the Cubs are kicking the crap out of the Cardinals. We were down by like 5 or 6 in the ninth, and the Cardinals come back and win it on an Edgar Renteria 3-run walk-off homer. Unfreaking believable. The whole place is going crazy. All the Cubs fans who had taunted us the whole game, hey guys, have a good trip back home. It's north, and the guys that were giving us a hard time, it's like, I think you owe us beers now. But I had extra tickets to that game. My buddy Mark and I went. We had 4 tickets. We only used 2, and they were part of that ticket run that I sold off. So I put on Boogers, hey, I'm looking for this ticket. Does anybody have a ticket from this game? I bought one. Somebody sent me a full ticket. It was my ticket. It was from our seats, from our season tickets. And I'm like, holy crap, how does this happen? He's like, well, I bought this big bunch of tickets on eBay. I'm like, that was me, So,
That's great.
so
Wow. Wow, wow,
fun,
wow.
fun stuff.
You know,
Gosh, where else you want to go?
yeah, I want us to say this. I mean, it really is a testament to Boogers, a testament to ticket collecting. I try to go out of my way to help people, and people have really gone out of their way to help me. Whether it's a Grail ticket or whether it's a $10 ticket that just they know that you're putting together some run, and that would help you out. And my buddy Rob Pagan is on all the time. He's helped me out with so much, and I try to reciprocate. And I just don't see that in other genres of
No,
collecting. And I think we're just so
not at
very
all.
blessed to be doing what we do. Let me ask you this, Bill, not to switch it to anything negative,
No,
but because it's so positive, and I could talk to you forever, and you're so good to hear from. And even Taylor Hamilton's on the Ham Fam collection, and your passion is infectious, and I agree, Bill, it really is. And Taylor's got a passion for this as well, and he's putting up some amazing runs and collections and things from his childhood and memories, and it's all really good. And you want to stay positive. I want to stay positive. But what are your thoughts on kind of where ticket collecting has evolved from when you were doing it 10 years ago and where it is now? I mean, there are some really good things too, but I think there are some things that you and I both talked about that we're not in love with.
well, my whole thing is money corrupts everything, right? And money has come into the hobby. And, a couple of years ago, when everybody's sitting around from COVID and money's cheap and people are paying insane amounts for things. The one that I'll never forget is a Michael Jordan basketball card that I worked my butt off to sell for $300 a few years ago. And the guy wrote back to me. He's like, thanks a lot, man. It graded out as a Gem Mint 10. And I saw that same card sell at a major website for 15 grand during that time.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, there goes a couple years of retirement, But the big thing for me, a lot of money is in it. And the people who are there for the money, people like me, people like you, a lot of people who have connections to these things, they don't care about the connection. To them, oh, it's a ticket so-and-so, well, it's worth that much to me. And that's the reason I got away from cards. I had cards dating back to the 1800s. I had crazy stuff. I had a little museum. But the money part of it really disheartens me when people are there strictly to flip things or try to take advantage of people, or when it becomes a profit motive. Do we want to make a little bit of money when we buy something? Sure. I'm not going to gouge anybody. And most of the stuff that I sell, if it's somebody who really wants it, It's like, here's what I got in it. Will you just let me break even, you know?
Sure.
But that's a big deal. And then the other one that makes me insane, it's my hot button, is all the stuff of debut tickets. I lived this the first time around in the card hobby. I think I told you the story. I met this guy one time. He's like, man, I took a bath on Mark Grace cards. I thought he was going to be a Hall of Famer. He's a freaking doubles hitter in Wrigley. And the guy spent thousands of dollars just buying all these mass-produced collectible Mark Grace tickets. And what makes, debut ticket, I don't collect many of them. One of the guys that I thought was a god when I was a kid was Deacon Jones, and I got Deacon Jones' debut ticket recently.
Great.
And of course, he played the Colts and Unitas, which made it even better. But do you really think all these guys you're chasing those debut tickets? That's going to go in the recycling bin at some point, because how many guys actually do that? I can say I don't have Albert Pujols' debut ticket. I have his number 2. I have his debut at Busch and his first home run there that game. But that's also, they're great memories. One of my clients, who's a huge baseball nut, had gone to spring training every year for years, calls me at spring training. He's like, man, we got this kid named Pujols. And he's like, he makes Vladimir Guerrero look like a chump. He's like, this guy, I've never seen a guy hit a ball like this as a rookie. And I have great Pujols memories. I was there for the McGuire chase in '98, which was just magic. I don't, look back, fine. But going back to subject, yeah, the whole debut thing, really, do you have a connection to this guy? Or are you just sitting there going, oh, I hope he ends up being in the Hall of Fame and he ends up being the next Donovan Osborne, who was a washout pitcher with the Cardinals.
Yeah.
So
I remember that name.
Could have been great. $1 million arm, 5-cent head. So,
yeah. Well, I think what you're saying is very true. Tom writes as a comment here: collect what you love, and you can never go wrong. You won't go wrong.
That's it.
And I agree, and I even wrote it down when we talked, Bill. You said collect what you love, collect what has meaning. Try not to collect for the money, because it's not really about the money. It's always nice if you could, turn a profit and use some of that money to, continue to build your collection. And I think that's what most of us do. But I think a lot of people, even on Boogers recently, they figured out the guys that are not in it with the heart that you have, Bill. And, those people are waking up. And I think the collectors are waking up on Boogers. And I think it's going to be a sad reality for those guys who got in it for the wrong reasons.
Well, here's a great way to look at that. Okay, you're on your deathbed. You're dying. It's like, okay, an hour from now, St. Peter, I hope you buy my line and let me through the gate, right? So you're on your deathbed and you're thinking about your life and everything else. And if you've got tickets, and I'll reach over here because it's one of my favorites. 1985 National League Championship Series. Ozzie hits the go crazy home run. I've got a signed version of that. But the game after that was the killer game. 9th inning, Tom Niedenfuer again. Jack Clark takes the first pitch and jacks it to left field, crushes it. Oh my God, Guerrero turns around and looks at it and slams his glove to the turf. And Jack Clark grew up in the Bay Area and hates the Dodgers, and he's pumping his fist. It's magic. Here's the ticket, and I got Jack to sign it for me. And Jack loves to sign this ticket. And if Jack's had a few drinks and you've got an extra, he'll put F the Dodgers on the bottom of it. But if I'm dying, do I want to see this ticket and say, oh wow, that's worth $1,000, or do I want to relive that moment and go out on a high note and say, God, that was one of the best things in the world. And for me, the fun part of that too is, I can hear Jack Buck's voice on that call. I can hear Vin Scully, on that call, and all those memories flood back. Who cares about the money? At the end of the day, maybe if you're lucky and none of us know what's, we have faith or whatever, we don't know what's on the other side, but maybe I can take that little bit with me, and the money ain't going anywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well put.
That's
well put, my friend. Well put. Well put. Well, we've been talking for a half hour. you've got to run the gauntlet. I could talk to you for forever, Bill. And hopefully we'll continue this dialogue, you and I, because it's been a pleasure just talking to you over the few weeks that we've been preparing for the show. The gauntlet is, a little bit of back and forth, kind of some rapid fire questions. I tease you a little bit at the end, but not a whole lot of teasing, but I'm actually going to test your Cardinals knowledge. I'll help you through it. I didn't prepare you for it. Don't be worried. We'll figure it out together. But we always start it this way on the gauntlet. Stub or full?
It depends. And that's a horrible answer, right? Stub or full? Here you go. Jack Clark signed stub, Jack Clark full. It depends. It's just it can be either. I love the idea. It was there at the game. It was a part of the moment. But sometimes that really clean full is there. So yeah, I just copped out on your answer.
No, that's a fair answer. I saw a lot of raw tickets tonight. You did give a PSA story, but a lot of raw tickets. So PSA, Beckett, or no slab at all?
No slab at all.
Old
keep it
school.
I mean, okay. I have a few slab things. I admit here's your fun one. NC State wins the national championship. I bought it slabbed. I'm not going to break it out. But for me, I would rather have it raw and have it real.
All right. I like it. Raw and real. We'll take it, Bill. Debuts or moments? I think we know where you're going to go with this.
Absolute moments.
Yeah.
Absolute moments. And unless the guy just does something insane in his debut, And how many of those do we get?
Yeah, not that many. I hear you. I think we know where you're going to go with this one too. PSA graded 10 ticket or a PSA Pop 1 ticket?
Well, it's all of that depends on how many tickets have come across the grading desk, right? I would rather have the one. If you have the only one out there, and in my case, you've got a connection to it, holy cow, there's your treasure.
Yeah. But yeah, I couldn't agree more. And you're having some fans here. I see 25 Main Street saying saying raw and real is the way to go. I think raw and real is going to be maybe a new motto for this show. Raw and real. People are asking questions. Tom, you're not part of the gauntlet. I know you want to talk to Bill, but you're not part of the gauntlet. You're stealing my thunder. No, I'm just teasing. So, better Cardinals announcer. Many people don't know that Harry Carey was a Cardinals announcer, but Harry Carey or Jack Buck?
Jack Buck. I love Jack. And actually, you and I talked about this. At the top of my all-time bucket list is opening day Cardinal home game 1954, Jack Buck's first day in the announce booth, and he's with Harry Carey. But there was a rhythm to Jack. There was a magic to Jack. I got to work with him. I got to write for him at one time. And it wasn't just Cardinal games. My one of my all-time favorite calls is Kirk Gibson's home run in '88 in the World Series, and Jack Buck is, he's emotional. I don't believe what I just saw. So yeah, it's Jack over Harry. Now, well, I can't even say that. I'd rather have a beer with Jack because Jack's fun, but I'd drink a Bud with Harry too.
Most underrated St. Louis Cardinal, Stan Musial or Bob Gibson? Or someone else, maybe.
Stan, it's got to be Stan. If Stan had played in New York or Boston or a major market, he would have been God. I mean, and I knew Stan personally. I worked with him. He was an even better person than he was a ball player. But yeah, it's Stan. If you look at his body of work when he retired, he was the only player in history to be in the top 25 of every major batting category. And if not for two rainouts, he would have won the Triple Crown in '48 and led the league in every major batting category all the way across the board.
Wow.
Just unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, and the most consistent hitter of all time.
I think both are pretty underrated, but I hear where you're coming from. Which would you rather own, Bill? Stan Musial debut ticket or a 1926 Cardinals first World Series clincher?
Ooh. I got it. It's, you know what, on that one, I go with the debut. It was Musial. I mean, Musial is the Cardinals. He's the heart of the Cardinals. If for anybody who's ever been to St. Louis, this is unlike any other city in the world when it comes to baseball.
It's really,
I mean, baseball is a religion. Opening day is a day of holy obligation, but Musial set the tone for what the club still is. in how it acts with the public. I mean, he is the Cardinal brand, just like DiMaggio is the Cardinal. Set the Yankee brand. I mean, that was Stan here, and he was one of
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. Yeah. Good thought. I hear you. I hear you. So this is kind of the same question, but two parts. Will Mark McGwire ever make the Hall of Fame? And then should Mark McGwire make the Hall of Fame, in your opinion?
Oh man, that's it breaks my heart. The only greater Greek tragedy in baseball other than Mark McGwire is Pete Rose. Realistically, at some point I think Cooperstown has to look at the steroid era and open up the gates. And if that's the case, put McGwire in or do a steroid wing and do it that way. Do I think he deserves to be there? Yeah, probably so. I've never experienced magic on the level of that '98 season. If we had more time, I would tell the story. I was standing on the Fox cameraman's platform behind home plate when McGwire broke Maris's record. Insane,
Wow.
and that's a story unto itself. We'll do that if you want to do a second edition.
Sounds good. Yeah. So you think he makes it, and you think he should?
I think he makes it someday. And I don't know when that day is, and it may be when all of us are dead. And people look at things differently because it's such a polarizing point of view. And it's like, I think Barry Bonds is the biggest jerk I've ever met. Watched him refuse a kid an autograph and set a kid away in tears. And that was early in his career. Do I think he belongs there? Probably less than the others because, he already knew it had been outlawed. And I remember my doctor walked in my physical, and he's a baseball nut. He schedules extra time, and he walks in and he doesn't even ask how I am. He's like, Barry Bonds is on steroids. His head's grown 2 sizes in the off season. So, he did. He went from like a size something to almost a size 9 cap. So,
See, I think they all belong, and I think they all will make it one day. So the last thing, Bill, that we have, we're going to test a little bit of knowledge. I'll help you out because it's unannounced. You couldn't prepare for it. There are 14 St. Louis Cardinals retired jersey numbers.
Right.
I am going to see if you can get them. I'm going to work through it with you. There's also 2 initials, people's initials that are kind of retired by the Cardinals because they didn't wear well, they did wear numbers, but they retired. One wore a number, but they did retire the initials, not necessarily the number. So let's kind of start. Do you want me to give you the numbers and you'll try to go with the names? Do you think you want to do it that way?
We can do that. The initials are for Jack Buck and Rogers Hornsby.
There you go. See, those were the hard ones. Come on, Bill. That's easy for you.
Yeah, and number 99 is August Bush.
I think they have it as 85. Yes, that was a tough one. Is it
85? All right.
Yeah. All right. So then these are just going to be easy for a legend like Bill Shelton. Number 1,
Ozzy.
Number 2,
Red Schoendienst.
Number 6.
Number 6 is Stan. That's
number 9.
Right.
What's that?
Here, for number 6. For number 6 right now in World Championships, win number 12 for number 6, please. Next.
Number 9.
Number 9
is going
to be Enos Slaughter.
Enos Slaughter. Number 10.
Number 10 is Tony La Russa.
You are killing it. Number 14.
Kenny Boyer. 1964 MVP.
You are correct. Number 17.
Dizzy Dean.
Okay. I think the rest are just going to be easy. Yeah. They're going to be easy for you, Bill.
Let me do this one for you. Dizzy Dean, last National League pitcher to win 30 games. Pitcher closest to come to 30 game wins the following season. Diz won 28.
Wow.
So 58 wins in 2 years.
Wow.
We'll never see that again. Okay.
Number 20.
Lou Brock.
Number 23.
Number 23.
Catcher. Hall of Famer.
That's of course it is. It's new. It's Simmons. It's
Ed
10.
Simmons. There you go. Number 24.
24 is Whitey.
Whitey
If you
Herzog.
think if you think I tell stories, you should have met Whitey. Oh my God.
Number 42.
Number 42.
Actually, two people have their
Oh, that's
jersey
Jackie.
retired. That are,
That's the Jackie Robinson number.
it is
Right.
the Jackie Robinson. There's also a Cardinal, a pitcher, closer.
Oh, that's right. That was Suter. Sorry
Bruce
about that.
Bruce Suter. And then finally, real easy for a guy like you, 45.
45. Bob Gibson. On Bob Gibson, I will close you with a fun story. A friend of mine's father played in a fantasy camp, and then they played a game on Busch Stadium, and they played it after the game. So Gibson's pitching, and this young guy comes in and digs in and stares down Gibson. And this is like 1986, 1987, somewhere in there. And Gibson scowls at him. And he throws a pitch, and the guy takes this thunderous swing, just rips his swing. And Gibson's shaking his head. He's pissed. He goes back to the hill, goes up, and throws under the guy's chin and knocks down a fantasy camper and walks down the hill and points at the guy and goes, "I don't care if this is a damn fantasy camp. I'm Bob Gibson. Respect me." And walks back up the mound.
Great. That's great. That's great. Well, I was impressed, Bill. That was pretty good. I didn't expect you to get them like that. And you got them. You got them all. And that was just good stuff. Bill, I really appreciate you coming on. For the people who watched live, I thank you always for coming on and giving us some time. For the folks who are going to watch it after I post it on Instagram, reach out to Bill. Bill's on Facebook. He's on the Boogers group all the time. If you ever need any help, or you need anyone who can guide you in the right direction, he'll certainly be someone that'll give his best efforts to help you put a run together or help build your collection. And that's what's so great about him. Bill collects memories. He gave us some great ones tonight. Bill Shelton, thanks so much for being on. I really do appreciate it.
Thanks for giving me the chance to share. It's always fun.
We'll have you on again, Bill. You can do a little bit more. Episode 42 of Stub Luv Live with Bill Shelton. We're out of here. Thanks again, Bill.
All right. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.